industrial technology. We're all about the logic and technical, and we want to connect with people logically. Logical connection is important, but only after we emotionally connect. Because if they feel the trust and confidence and kind of the fuzzy, warm feelings about us, then they really accept what we're going to tell them a lot easier. So today, I'm trying to demonstrate some of those things in this presentation to give you an idea of at least one form of presentation that takes place here. So this is my own company. Many of you, and I know looking around the room, several of you have had classes for me before, and I reference as an example my involvement with the automotive aftermarket parts business. My company was called, or is called still, I'm still a member of the board, non-participating member of the board in terms of actual ownership anymore, since I sold my share when I retired. But the company was a company that was, when I joined them back in 1993, about $11 million in revenues, and today it's well over $50 million in annual revenue. And so this particular presentation was to my board of directors, of which I was also Chief Operating Officer, a board member, and it was to try and convince them to reinvest our earnings that we've been earning over the years, non-distributed earnings, into the growth of the business, as opposed to continuing to provide them dividends and earnings on an annual basis. So heretofore, before this, just setting this up, this is not a role play, it's an actual pretty much situation. There are a few things that I've changed to protect the confidentiality of the company. In the presentation, there's some things there that aren't totally what was going on at the time in terms of numbers and so forth, just to give you an idea of what's going on with that particular part of the presentation. But heretofore, what was happening was about half of the annual earnings would go back into the company, and the board every year would approve that, and then the other half would go back to them as distribution dividends every year, which they would obviously pay taxes on. And so we were wanted to take that part and put it into the company to grow it so that we wouldn't have to go out and borrow a lot of money to do that process. So this, the scene is the board of directors and the certain situation that occurred here was we had essentially a 5-member board. Just to give you an example, audience, of course, is all important to every presentation that we do. And if you want to accomplish your objectives with your audience, you have to know who they are. And to some degree, if you're looking for them to do something for you as a result of your presentation, the so-called call to action that we talk about, then you have to understand what the dynamics of the group is. So this particular group, one of the board members, the primary founder of the company, if you will, who started the company in the United States, owned about 50%, and the other three of the board members shared the rest of the 50% of the company. Myself, I had a higher share than the other two because I was obviously involved specifically with the company, and I felt very strongly about the growth of the company. And then the other two directors, one was a lawyer and one was an accountant that we had, an outside accountant, and they both had participating shares in the company as well. And I tell you that because in the dynamics that we're talking about with the audience, we want to understand what we're expecting from them. The other information point here on the dynamics is that even though the founder of the company was with a majority of the share involved with the company, you would think would be probably the key to everything, and obviously to some degree he was. The lawyer happened to be the one that was most dynamic in these kinds of questioning periods, and my objective was to answer his questions and convince him, and by doing that, I felt the rest of the board would feel confident in where we were going. by way of another disclosure, the 50% owner of the company, the founder of the company, was someone that I had already reviewed my thoughts with, essentially had his tentative approval, given the approval of the board that he liked the idea that I was talking about. So that helped in terms of the convincing issues of what we're doing, kind of background wise. So the goal, of course, was to get the commitment to reinvest these earnings. The challenges were trying to deal with the dynamics of the people. And of course, anytime anybody gives up money on a short-term basis, they want a nice return. So that was one of my challenges through this process, to convince them, if I reinvest this money in the company, I'm going to get a nice return on it long term. And there are other things to consider, and I'll talk about that as I make the presentation. People, questions, and issues, the success quotient, to me, as with every presentation, is planning. Prior planning prevents poor performance. We've heard that term before, right?
Yes.
So the 4 Ps. Actually, there's another P in there, but we don't talk about that one. But prior planning prevents poor performance is a good way to describe it from a cliche standpoint. So let me go now into character, and this would be my first slide that I was utilizing, the first slide I did utilize in this particular presentation. Again, the scene was our boardroom at our company in Southern California, which is a global automotive parts company making radiators and other heat transfer products. So I'll step into character at this point. Welcome to our board meeting. I am pleased to report that I have some very exciting future news for you. Picture, if you will, this business 5 years from now, 6 years from now, 10 years from now.